She's calling back. We're going to try to give her a call again, and then she just added another phone number to the 13-year-old grandson who's possibly with the daughter. Step out with this.
2412.
Veteran crisis hotline's calling in, so they have a female veteran's off her medication. She's over at the safe haven. You're checking 12, we'll check that one out.
6 1 bullet, 2 point start, take your shots.
Officer still stands for time? No. Offender in custody? Thanks. Anyone else close, point to 0, let me know. Come first, standby. 10-4. No, veteran's off her medication. She's over at the safe haven. You're checking 12, we'll check that one out.
6 1 bullet, 2 point start, take your shots.
Officer still stands for time? No. Offender in custody? Thanks. Anyone else close, point to 0, let me know. 10-5, 33.
3 3. Can you let us supervisor know that I have location?
1830.
Yeah, Bombshells here in Wilson.
Come first, standby. 10-4. Is William still on? 47-4. I'm sorry, we're not copy you. Try that one more time, copy. 84747. 84747, okay. Secretary find that needed coming over to domestic battery at 1815 North Winchester, 185 North Winchester. Danny stated the caller and the
I don't know. I apologize. I'm still getting used to this program here.
Okay, so
Sorry.
I'm on stage at least.
Yeah, you're good. It's me that you got to worry about here. Whoa,
Yeah,
get that turned down. Holy.
I tried to change my avatar or do something here, but I had to log on my phone.
You had to do what? You had
I
to
had to
log.
I had to log on my phone because my computer was just spinning around. Like I just got the death wheel, you know that wheel that just spins around like it's thinking. And so it's my computer, so I got on my phone and I'm trying to change the avatar and I can't do that, but oh well.
I had a wheel. I had a death wheel going on in my brain when, when I was watching that Nancy Grace episode.
Oh
Like,
my God, Howard Blum. I mean, like seriously, he talked about the bombs. Remember that Brian Koberger was supposedly making a bomb? None of that came true.
dude, this is okay. This is when I totally took a turn on Howard Blum. When I was when I heard from him when he was going out way back in the beginning promoting about what he knew took place in the car with his dad and him on the way back to Pennsylvania, and I'm sitting there going, how in the hell do you know
What
how
they
do you
talked about.
even know? Like, how do you even know what his dad got upset about? And how do you even know what looks they were giving each other? And how do you even know about, and now all of a sudden, like, that was the biggest reach to me this whole time of everything that he said. Because, you could, yeah, they found wires and some dirt. Okay, yeah, he could have been making kabuis. But when it comes to like knowing what, like, you were in the back seat of the car or something, that's when it was like, dude, and that
Unless,
was the biggest reach. Tonight was the next biggest reach,
oh my
Yoli.
God. And
With
I was in another person's chat about this Ramblin thing, and it's unbelievable.
it
I
is.
really
Well,
don't understand how any of this could be ever be relevant. It's all speculation. It's all
it is.
just talking
Yeah.
about what the theories are and whatnot. And people take this seriously. I mean,
Well,
geez, we don't know what was
it's
going through Brian Koberger's mind.
well when you start talking about how he has a fascination with his professor, that's humongous reach number 2. All right, so this is where, and this is what I've been telling people the last couple weeks. You've been hearing this mumbo jumbo. I was like, look, people, maybe not now, because just within the last few weeks I've decided to grow a beard. I'm like, screw it, I'll change it up a little bit. I might go back to the baby face, but this is what I've been like. Look, me and him were boots on the ground. Like, I was talking to the same people I'm sure he was talking to, and there's a difference. He's walking around looking like a fucking grandpa, and I'm walking around. Remember back then I had the gear for each university. I was
Mhm.
blending in like a student. People were coming up and just talking to me like crazy, and I was talking to them. And throughout each community, Pullman and Moscow. And so maybe that was the difference. Maybe they felt, like this dude is more down on my level or something, and he has to sensationalize things to get noticed and to get on these programs and sell books. You
Well,
know,
yeah,
you
that's
know what
his
I'm saying?
motive.
I'm
That's
gonna
his
be
motive.
selling a book here at the end of the year, beginning of next year. I'm gonna be selling my first book, co-authored with Rosie, and I'm not sitting there doing this sensationalism crap. It's just, I'm so shocked.
Yeah, I
I
know.
just, it's such a stretch, man. The
And people,
how,
and like Nancy Grace talks about Howard Blum as if he's an authority. According to Howard Blum, well, who is Howard Blum? He's a nothing because he doesn't know what the hell is going on.
no.
I mean, how does he know? And then this poor Ramslin lady, I mean, because allegedly she is supporting the family and she is talking to the family.
Well,
And I guess
wouldn't you? You
allegedly she's going to accompany the family to the trial. Allegedly, I don't know. That now they're saying, oh, see, he was in love with her. It's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like, what's up, Mark and Busby, everybody? Thank you. It's like I was saying, like when I was hearing this fascination with Ramsland, that's when I'm like, dude, it's like you were back when you were sitting in the car with Koberger and his dad on the way back to Pennsylvania. Like, shut the fuck up. And
Yeah.
people
Uh
have
huh.
requested for me to say the F word a little bit more, Yoli. Okay,
That's okay.
just heads up.
Hmm. I
No,
might
go ahead.
say it too. I don't know.
No, go ahead. It's just like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Yeah, what I was saying is just like he talked about when I was on Andrew Meyer's show, we interviewed him, and uh, he didn't know a lot of stuff, but he claimed to, like, I asked him about, did you see Brett Payne's cross-examination on the motion to compel? And he didn't, that was when Ann Taylor killed them both, Mowry and Brett Payne.
Yeah.
That was on the motion to compel. But he also mentioned that the FBI was looking into him regarding a bomb and all this stuff. Well, he later admitted on another show that, oh, I don't know, that was just rumor. Okay, nothing became of that. And
Dude.
nothing is going to become of that.
And this is the problem. This is the problem with true crime, period. This isn't just with Idaho 4. This is true crime, period. Everybody, like, it's so crazy how people can just say whatever they want and it's just going to be automatically believable. And I'm just like, come on, people. And this is what's the most upsetting. And this is why me and Andrew, when we did a show together back in the day, and shout out to him, when we did a show, I'd love to have him back on too. When we did a show together, and I don't know, I think that might have been the last show that he was on with me, honestly, now that I think about it, because we had a little difference of opinion on Howard Bloom. I don't know. Like, I'm talking to you like I was talking to him. I'm just like, dude, this dude comes from, listen, look at how old he is, right? Think about how journalism used to be back then. You had to have fact checking, 3 matching sources, and all this other stuff just to come out with something, right? So it's not like this dude just came across the scene and he's like, hey, I don't know any better. Like some of these people do when you should automatically already. But he comes from a day and age where you had to do all that stuff before you even put anything out in print or in an interview or anything. And so for him to go from how strict you had to be back then to nowadays he just lets it frickin' fly just to sensationalize it. What? Dude, it's like I said a minute ago. Who's going to have a more interesting story when it comes to talking to the people that it really affected the most? Young people. Me
Right.
or Howard Bloom? They're going to look at him and be like, dude, you're creepy as fuck. I ain't going to tell you shit. When I'm walking around, I couldn't stop talking to people. I had to, like, that's why I didn't even uh get some of the stuff I wanted to do done, is because literally I was rushing because I wanted to talk to, I mean, I was getting in really good conversations with people, and
Mhm.
a lot of interesting ones too. And the stuff, the crazy thing is I never heard anything about Brian Koberger in a negative way unless it came from somebody that said that they heard it on the news or saw it on a social media app. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Most of these
it's a
people don't even think he did it.
well, yeah. I mean, it's a very strange case, and it's sealed. A lot of the things are sealed, and what's coming out is confusing, and it I mean, it does. It might. Some of the stuff that comes out might lead to reasonable doubt, but the point is the prosecution has to prove to a reasonable doubt, you know, they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he entered that house because there's a burglary charge and that he committed the unalivings. We don't have, well, maybe sealed, I don't know, but we don't have the point of entry. And I've always, I thought, okay, let's get this dollhouse here. That you guys tore down the house, let's get this
Well,
dollhouse here. Why don't you point where he entered? They won't be able to.
well, this is what's crazy that you bring that up, Yoli, is because me and Nina Kelly
Uh
are going
huh.
to be getting into the 1126 camera stuff tomorrow
Hmm.
night. I haven't put out
Oh,
a
good.
notification yet, but uh we'll be having that. I just have to, probably around noon I'll be putting out a notification for sure time. I don't want to put a time and have to bump it back for an hour or two. I'm supposed to be having some internet people coming, so it's between this hour and it's like 4 hour window, so you know how that goes.
Yeah.
But that's interesting that you bring that up, because no, we don't know. But then when you listen to Steve's Steve dropped a bunch of jaw dropping stuff a couple nights ago, and we heard a lot of stuff that we never heard before, and we heard a lot of stuff that just simply is not true. And it seems like it's a lot of stuff that he's being hand fed to him from law enforcement just to keep him to shut up and not pursue the, because I really feel like before they told him to chill out, he would have been the one to solve the to really investigate it and figure it out. I really thought back then Steve was on the right damn track, man. uh that they did too, and that's why they asked him to keep quiet. But then they're feeding him all this stuff, and then you're seeing he's admitting that he's getting emails that is telling him stuff that's not even supposed to be out to the public. That's crazy that they're writing email documents that can be put out there or leaked or investigated. And then also, uh, when it comes to just with the the whole narrative about it, it just there's just too much. There's just too much. Um
Yeah. Yeah, and he's a grieving father, and I don't know how he's processing the information, but yeah, it is a lot.
I mean, it makes you wonder how much stuff is kind of, because the game of telephone. I'm told something, and then I'm going to repeat it, but I'm adding my emotions into it, and then who knows what gets twisted based off of how you want to word something, because you want it to benefit how you feel emotionally, right? That's how it changes. But at the same time, it's the stuff like when he brought up about the other camera angle that was pointed at the house, uh the other vantage point that was evidence when it came to somebody committing that crime. And so that's what led me back then to say, man, he's talking about 1126, because 1112 only has the camera pointed at the T section at Queen and King. I went there already. I dug through all of my footage. I went through the footage from local news reports that showed the buildings all around the neighborhood. I scoped and I didn't find any other cameras, and the only camera that could exist that would give that vantage point that Steve is talking about, that he says is evidence. He said the word evidence as well, is 1126, pointing at the sliding glass doors of the second and third floor. So when it comes to, if everybody remember that first night that they were taking videos and photos of 1122, they had those bulbs that were hanging, that were nailed up on the deck, and they were hanging over the sliding glass door, right?
Yes.
So, and they illuminated that little area very good. So this is the thing: if there's a camera that was pointed in that direction, which according to Steve, and we'll get into it tomorrow night, that's the only other vantage point. And there's proof, because I already went through it all, footage, real life, and back then. That would have picked up somebody coming in one of those sliding glass doors, whether it was the third floor or the second floor.
Yeah.
So if they don't have any kind of surveillance of him going in and out, well, then what the hell is Steve even talking about? And what was he talking about back on December 28th, 2023? Because that's when he put out the post on Facebook talking about that extra vantage point and how it's evidence when it comes to the crime. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know either, and I honestly don't know why some things are sealed and some are not. And there may be something sealed that might show that Brian Koberger like stopped his car and walked into the house. There may be, I don't know, but right now the way it's looking,
there's no other camera that can do that.
Right.
The only camera is 1126, and that will only pick up a certain part.
Yeah.
Here, let me show you guys on a map. Go ahead. Let me bring up a map for you guys. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm going to pull up a map for you so I can show you. It would show somebody turning and pulling in and parking and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But just a limited spot. And I'll show you. Let's see. Share tab. Here we go. All right. So let me get rid of that. So this is where the house was, okay? Where that's at. Yeah, was. All right. So this is what I'm talking about. So back in the day, okay, and that's even on my unblurred Google guide that'll take you around the neighborhood before they blurred everything else, even 1122. It's very useful as well, because I also use them to determine what had cameras and what didn't. Okay, so back then, when from the very beginning, you would only have the year 2007 in this spot. Okay, 2007 was the last time that a Google car drove up this road to have the little 360 camera showing. So the house was a little bit different back then. They renovated this whole neighborhood over time. Okay, now this house was a little bit different back then. Now, the last few years, they park here now like they did before, but there was a door over here. Now, you have to park here and walk up these stairs. There's some stairs right here that go up, and then you have to walk around on this little path here, and there's a door here, and then you walk around and there's a door right here on the side. Okay, so when you're looking at 1112, which would be, that's not, it'll be right, it's about right here. All right, so that's a bad square, but that's where 1112 roughly is right there, okay? Not as far out. But when you're talking about this camera, now this is where it would be able to reach. So you'd get about right here, and then you'd get here, and then right about there. All right, and then there, there. So you would have this spot right here where you could pick up somebody pulling around. You would have obviously lights through the trees right here. You'd be able to pick up the parking lot right here. And you would be able to see around here and all the way through the backyard. And when it comes to this patio section, that's what was illuminated from those bulbs. So if somebody did enter through this spot right here, then I really feel like this camera would have picked it up because of the illumination on the bulbs. And
Yeah.
then it shows a figure walking around. That activates that camera. Maybe not if there's no illumination on that patio. But since there's illumination, it's going to kick off that camera. So this is what makes me wonder is if they really did enter through that ladder and leave through that ladder.
Yeah, it's possible.
Because that's the only way, if there really truly is 100% a camera at 1126, then there is a way that person, because of how dark it is back here, if they're wearing dark clothing, they could have walked, like I said, they could have parked back here. I always think that they walked through this dark spot right here, slid down, either jumped up on that deck, but now I'm wondering, did they really come around here, come around to the front? Right here, that camera's not going to kick on because it's too dark. You're too far away. You're wearing dark clothing. It's not very much of a light difference for it to activate, and you can literally climb up that ladder, really enter, hopping through that window, doing the crime, and leaving through that window, and then jumping down here. This is how I thought the person always did leave because of the exculpatory evidence from Bethany. I really feel like Bethany looked out her window. When you look at that picture from the day that the crime took place, there's that blind that hangs down. One of them is stuck open, and I really feel like that's where she was looking out her bedroom window, and she saw somebody that didn't match the description of Koberger walking out the door, dressed in that same clothing. And that would, if they did leave out that window, I really felt like they walked from the window this way and then walked back around the dark wooded area, got back in their car, and left.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
but that's just going off what Steve said.
Right. But yeah, Steve, unfortunately, he's listening to things through a filter, unfortunately, because his daughter was unalived. So I wouldn't pay much attention to him, unfortunately. I mean, it's sad. But I've always thought that this had to be like an ambush type of thing. That's what I thought. I thought that all along, that yeah, these people were not going to get out of that house. But I could be wrong, because now we get this expert from the defense that's saying that Xana and Ethan were unalived at the same time, and there were different weapons used. It's all confusing. But if you just focus on Brian Koberger and his movements, that's where they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he entered that house and he did the unalivings. And there's too much, like what you're saying, that the way, the camera and what it would have caught and what it didn't catch. And I mean, there's a lot that might be sealed. I don't know.
But But yeah, and that's true. It could be sealed, but um, but when it comes to it being sealed, just like Steve says, why? Why was this
Why?
sealed? Why was the 911 call sealed? Why
And
was
he
that
was
sealed?
against the sealing of the evidence.
Right. And maybe it is, and it really shouldn't be if there is video footage of the person walking in
Yeah,
and commit the crime, because honestly, how many body cams or surveillance videos do we see on the platforms that show worse things than that?
yeah. I
That
mean,
that don't make sense either.
it doesn't. No.
But
So
again,
Vinnie Politan had
yeah, he
a
had a
show on this.
yeah. Well, he had a tangent podcast the yesterday or the day before, and he's always crazy on there. I'd rather watch those, but since we're gonna go for dramatics tonight, I figured I would show the new one that he had, where he's talking about the new evidence, and then we would kind of watch the Nancy Grace one, because that shit was wild.
Oh
But
my God.
she just gave him she
Oh
just
my
gave him
God.
another runway to fly on with his sensationalism.
And
And
she says, according to Howard Blum.
I
Well,
just I
how
don't
is he an
understand
authority
it.
on anything?
I just don't like no, it's crazy. uh Thank you again, Bo, and what's up, Amy? It's crazy because these people that are hosting these shows should freaking know that. Yoli, they should know that. They should sit there. Listen, they should sit there and be going, why didn't they call 911 earlier? Right?
No,
Why
right. And
why are you saying, how do you know this, Bloom? How do you know what was going on between him and his dad in that car ride in Pennsylvania?
right. And to it's you can have these profilers talk all they want about Brian Koberger, but Brian Koberger has not said a word. And when you look at these other unalivers like Ted Bundy, the BTK killer, all these other people, they talk and talk and talk. I mean, like Ted Bundy was so charismatic, he'd get women to help him. Okay, BK's not doing any of that. Okay, no, he's not saying a word. He sits there quietly. He
In
doesn't
fact,
make a
Anne
move.
says that it's hard to get him he's distracted, and she even said sometimes it's hard to get him
Engage.
yeah.
Yeah, in his own defense.
Yeah.
Right. And so you see these smooth operators that are over there doing all these unalivings, and I don't see it in Mr. Koberger. And I said from the very first time that I called into your show that uh, that he was probably OCD, and that
Yeah.
he probably when they were the FBI was watching him, he was probably in anxiety and probably sorting the trash, like like it was giving him problems, like, okay, this trash can't touch this trash, and like I need to sort this out. And maybe he went to go get some greeny leafy things to smoke so that he could calm down, because it I mean, I've always thought that in my mind, and that doesn't make it fact, but true. I mean, it's true because he's been diagnosed as OCD, but the point is, I don't know if the FBI knew that or what they thought, but it's very, very crazy, and I think Ann Taylor did a good job in bringing all these motions. She has to do that, and some of it can be looked at as like, why is she doing that? But it has to be done. And I listen to criminal defense attorneys who've been doing this for 30 years, like Scott Reich. I do listen to him, and although he doesn't know the details, he has some good facts. I mean, he has some good advice. But I still think there is reasonable doubt in this case. We don't know the whole thing. I mean, look what's come out. We thought that she was in a frozen shock phase and went to sleep. That's not
Right.
true.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they were on. What's up, Caddy? They were on social media, taking photos,
I mean,
deleting pictures,
and
talking to
as a
parents.
practical matter, people will focus on that. And yes, okay, like call 911. I mean, why wouldn't you call 911? You know, that's one of the things. But if you focus on who's on trial, Brian Koberger, and you try to show that he did the crimes, he alone did the crimes and entered into that house, well, I'm sorry, the prosecution falls short of that in this case right now, based on what's available to the public.
You know, it's crazy what you say about Scott Reich because he, yeah, right, Amy. He went weird.
Well, he didn't go weird. He just doesn't have all the details like we do, like we've
No,
talked about it.
he's like, you know, another loss,
Yeah,
another,
yeah, yeah.
you
Well, it
know,
is.
it's
And
always he's always talking shit on the defense now. I'm just like, wait a minute, dude. When this
no, he
first,
did talk about he did say the defense was right, and I almost published that, reposted it, because he said the defense was right about the DNA under the fingernails of Maddie, that it's exculpatory to Brian.
yeah, it
It's not,
is somebody
yeah, and he
else's.
put that out. He said it's exculpatory, and the lab in Idaho at Idaho State was wrong, and it is exculpatory. And the attorney Nye said that there was some issue with the lab, and I did cover this in one of my videos about how well, I won't go into that, but the DNA under Maddie's fingernails is exculpatory to Brian Koberger. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's inconclusive. It really is exculpatory. And
What
and
is?
Scott Reich did put that out. He said the defense was right.
Yeah, I know, but you're giving him just a 5% of what he's really like. It's gotten. I think he's gotten addiction to it now of
Well,
being
you
negative.
know,
I mean, in the
he
beginning, he in the very beginning, and it like the first couple months, maybe 6 months, he was like, "Yo, man, like the cell phone stuff."
right,
I got one of my clients off on the cell phone stuff like that. You can't prove that anybody was there
right.
based off of pings. Um, but then he went weird. I mean, he may have said that, Yoli, but here's the thing: I'm going through my mind and I don't remember that episode.
Oh, I'll send it
There,
to you.
I remember a whole bunch. I remember a whole bunch of other episodes lately, and I'm just like,
But you
damn,
know what?
bro.
He doesn't always know all the facts like we do. Like I know at one point he said, "Did Brian Koberger confess?" No, he did not confess. He asked, allegedly, "Has somebody else been arrested?" Or that did somebody else get arrested? So he doesn't know all the facts. He doesn't, because he's busy and he covers all kinds of cases. But he is a defense attorney. He does have some good points, and will
Yeah.
listen to a defense attorney every day of the week.
Oh yeah.
And and so he does have a lot of experience, but the details, I know which details he's missing. So I know that he is very experienced, but yeah, maybe he did go a little
Yeah.
weird.
I've
But
listen. I've been watching him since the
hmm
Chris Watts case came out.
yeah,
When that
he's
when
gone.
that when that happened, and that's when he started blowing up was the Chris Watts case, and that's when I
Yeah,
started watching him, and that's why I liked him because he was down to earth. He was no bullshit. He gave it to you straight with a little bit of sarcasm, and I thought, man, that's funny as hell. I love it. That's what I
right.
like.
But Amy Conway says Scott Reich is not watching the hearings, and I do agree with that. He doesn't have time to do that. And you know what? He's more
He
interested in
would.
the Karen Reed case, and
Yeah.
he's more interested in the Karen Reed case. But he did go a little weird. But he's being realistic, and he's saying that Ann Taylor has challenged the death penalty so many times, but at the end of the day, he said she's doing the right thing.
Well,
That
yeah,
was a video I saw today, yeah.
yeah, you have to.
And he's only done one death penalty case ever. So that tells you how
Uh,
rare it is to have somebody who's
It
certified
might
in
have
death.
been. It might have been the one person that he got off, because
Probably.
I think he said that when he was talking about the cell phone stuff, he said I only had one client. I only had one client for something. Uh, or I had a client for one thing. He only did the only time, and the cell phone stuff is what got him off, because they couldn't for
Yeah.
sure say they was not 30 blocks away or something like that.
Yeah. Well, if you watch the Karen Reed case and you look at the Cellbrite expert that they had on, I mean, it's not exact at all,
Yeah. No,
you know.
it's not,
But
because it's
mhm.
constantly pinging.
Yeah, and I'm of the opinion that based on what I know now, based on what's available to the public, there's reasonable doubt. They haven't proven it beyond reasonable doubt. They haven't proven the burglary charge. They haven't proven the point of entry into the house. I mean, the method and manner, you don't have to prove the method and manner of entry, whether he broke a window, whether he jimmied a lock or whatever, but you do have to prove the point of entry. You have to prove he entered that house one way or another. You can even have alternative theories as to how he entered the house, but I haven't heard from anybody how he entered that house. Where? And they say that the sliding glass door in the back didn't work, it was unlocked. Well, that just leads me to the owners of the property. I mean, did these girls complain that it didn't lock? Is that why Xana had her father come and change the locks? I mean, that's a liability on the property owner, but what happened to the house? They donated it to the university and it got torn
Yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah. It got donated so they could feel okay for getting rid of it.
Yeah, and they got rid of it and you know, it's I mean, if I were a parent, well, I'm also a lawyer, but if I were a parent, hell no. I would petition the court and say this is evidence not only in a criminal case but a civil case against the owner of the property. I mean, and anybody who wants to argue that Brian Koberger entered through the sliding glass doors, they have to prove it.
Mm-hmm. I,
So,
I, if I don't know that this when they did the burglary charge to me,
uh-huh.
I don't know. Let me know if this is what you thought, because when I first heard that, I was like, I man, if that is what gets him off, that's a bad mistake. I would have just I don't know. I don't know how. To me, I would hate to see a burglary charge that doesn't end up to fruition screwing a case when it
Well,
comes
you know,
to
you
the
got to
court.
think about those things because you
I
have to
mean, I'm
prove
just saying I would have not even I would have just went for the 4. You're talking 4 already.
uh
Dude's going to be living in prison the rest of his life if he's convicted. You know what I'm saying? Who cares
right.
about the damn burglary?
Well, the point I'm
Honestly.
trying, yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is you have a burglary charge, so the elements of the burglary charge have to be proven. And because they have to be
Right.
proven, that shows he entered the house. Otherwise, if you can't prove he entered the house, then how do you prove that he unalived the 4 students?
Right.
So I take a very simplistic approach, and I'm not a criminal defense attorney, and if I had somebody's life on my line on my head, I would probably not be so simplistic, but just being simple, and they bring this toy house or doll house, I would say, ask the lead detective, where can you point where Brian Koberger entered into the house?
I don't
And
recall.
he might say, "Well, we believe it." No, no, no. Yes or no? Can you point where Brian Koberger entered into the house? And when you're doing cross-examination, you're entitled to a yes or no.
You know
And
what he's gonna say. Somebody else told him or showed him.
well, then that
That's all that happened with
then you
that's
call
all
that
that
person.
happened.
I know. Then you call that person who
That's
showed
all
him
that
and you ask
happened.
them the same thing.
That's why he couldn't recall, because he was shown and told everything.
Well, the state has to prove everything, okay?
When
And
you
these
gotta
groups,
see the Nunez body cam, Yoli, that tells
I
you
know.
everything you need to know.
I mean, come on. I could. I wish I could just be in there and I would just do what I do, and nobody would know. I could just do what I do and just say, okay, you want to introduce a dollhouse? Go ahead, and go ahead. And it would just be something that they wouldn't expect. But it's very simple. The prosecution has to prove it, and if they can't prove it beyond a reasonable
You
doubt,
know, this is what they should have done, okay? I listen, even if you kept the house, all right? What I would have done is I would have, and they have all the documentation because they went in there 2 times. They went in there right after the crime, and then they went there right before I went out there for the year anniversary. They showed back up again, right? So they have documentation of what it looked like, how thick the drywall is, how cheap the insides, because we know that floorboards and we know that walls were removed after the crime, so we know that it's going to show the insides of how the property, the walls were built. It's going to show how everything would have been put together. What I would have done, instead of a dollhouse, I would have recreated out of 2x4s and plywood. All right, I would have tried to recreate even drywall and everything. Listen, you just need walls, rooms, and handrails. That's it. Okay, and they could recreate that in some kind of storage or on some kind of. Listen, there's a whole bunch of land out there. Why can't you build something
exactly.
out
I
there so
mean,
you could take the jury to give them the presence of
right,
what it felt like to walk through. Okay, they went from here to here. They get to walk through it, not look at,
right.
because that dollhouse is going to be this big. How are you
Well,
going to see
here's
something?
yeah, it's useless. But the 3D images that remember
Dude,
the FBI went out there. That was when you said I better go out there because they're going to tear down the house. Remember, the
yeah,
FBI went out there
look
and they
like
did these Faro scans, but they only did Faro scans of the 2 rooms.
it's. Dude, when Busby, back when because they did, the FBI went out and did the scans on Halloween, and that's when I was like, oh shit, they're gonna
You
tear
got to
this
go
house
there.
down. I gotta go. And I definitely wasn't flying out to the Northwest when there's snow, because I was already afraid to fly anyway. I'd rather fly in sunny skies than damn snow. Okay, because you add snow on top of it. Oh, I'm really gonna go nuts. But in the beginning, they did go there with the 3D scan. But this is what's crazy about that 3D scan. The company came out, and I have the video. It's in my files somewhere, where they got the people on there. They're like, yeah, we got this imaging equipment that does this and does this, and then you're
Mhm.
looking at the video of it, and dude, it looked worse than Nintendo 64 graphics. It was just like, what is
Yeah.
this? This is less than Nintendo 64, and it's
And
2022.
yes, Mark and Betty says, what if a jury member says, I want to see the house? Well,
Right.
you're not going to. And you know what? In the Murdaugh case, and a lot of cases, the jury have said that visiting the scene of the crime is what solidified their guilty verdict. Otherwise,
Right.
they couldn't. And to to what could be more important than solidifying the culprit of this crime and getting him convicted? It's a house. I mean, it's everything, but it's
Yeah.
the house. And they tore it down because of reasons. They donated it to the university because of reasons. And what those reasons are probably business reasons. And you put business ahead
Oh yeah,
of justice, and you have a problem. I mean, I see a problem.
it
And
is.
and I see, and I'm gonna send you, CJ, the Scott Reich when he says the defense was right about the DNA under Maddie's fingernails. It's exculpatory. It's not inconclusive. It is exculpatory. Uh, Although I do think he goes off the rails sometimes. But look, I will always listen to a 35 or 30-year experience, 30-year experienced defense attorney over me. So I will. But this is bullshit. I mean, that university needs to
That's
be
why they're not.
held.
That's why they're not building a model. Because look, for it to be tore down for health reasons is a bunch of BS. You know why? Because that's not the first time people were killed inside of a house or an apartment, and they don't
No,
tear down the buildings when people die inside. Okay,
no, they don't. And
they
in
have
this Dr.
professionals come
McDonald
in.
case, Dr. McDonald back in the 70s, he he
That's right.
unalived his wife and kids. He unalived his wife and kids, and he tried to blame it on uh, people like hippies, Manson murders. Okay, that father of the victim, the woman, his kept he kept that house for 9 years. Okay, and it still had the blood of that said pig. And the jury went to go see it when they saw the house, and it was kept exactly the way it was. And
Yeah.
there's no reason. There's no reason. Uh, so if this jury doesn't get a chance to see the house because it's a uniquely built house, they may not be able to convict him to really
They're
render a conviction.
they never would because they wanted the house torn down.
They never will.
It's like Stacy said, it was all about money. I mean, in
Right.
this right here, I shout out to Caddy. I put all of these videos together so you hear the whole conversation, and Scott Green even tells you right there that the only reason they got the University of Phoenix online was to boost the enrollment, which is what I was saying from the beginning.
Yeah.
In that interview, he admits to it, and they get into the whole crisis and all that other stuff. And it was all about money. When you listen to like, I suggest everybody to click that link, add it to your playlist, come on back, because when you listen to that conversation, he talks to you about how much the University of Idaho was in a financial crisis, big time financial crisis, big time. That's
Oh.
when that's
Yeah.
when that's when that's when he took a pay cut and left the law firm that he was looking over, took a pay cut and came to the University of Idaho to save them. And so that's why he's held so high. But at the same time, he's telling you about all the financial problems that they were having. And he's like, yeah, we had to get the University of Phoenix. When you have senators and governors reaching out to you, warning you not to accept the deal, just like all these other universities, and they're telling you our military don't even use them anymore because they're a scam. Please don't purchase this school. And they were just it was all about it. That's
Yeah.
all it was. They're never going to build a model because they don't even want the model up there, just like they didn't want the house. Because then people, what's that going to do? It's going to be even more of an attraction than the house was, because after so much, everybody had gone there. Everybody was getting footage. Everybody was getting photos. After a while, but to have a structure that's built for the trial that mimics the house, that would be even crazier, and that would be even more of what they don't want, which is attention to the whole crime itself.
Yeah. Hi Unravel, she's in the chat. I can't chat. I can't put the thing. Yeah, they're saying that she would not have gotten the red rummer's DNA or her nails, but whatever it may be, they did test her fingernails. They tested it. Uh, and they came up inconclusive. That's based on the state's lab. So they tested it because there's a possibility that she could have gotten it under her fingernails. They tested it, and because the Idaho State Police lab had some issues, they broadened their standards. And actually, the standards show that it's exculpatory to Brian Kohberger. And Mr. Nye, the attorney, also said yes, they're exculpatory, that the standards with the police, with the Idaho State Police lab, that they were broadened, and that yes, he pretty much agreed, pretty much that it's not inconclusive. It means it basically is not. It excludes Brian Kohberger. So yeah. So I mean, I understand that there are people who will say that, well, it wouldn't have gotten under her fingernails, but they did test it, and they tested it for a reason.
Yeah, there's a lot of DNA that, just like the mattress not being tested, like, it, come on, man. If somebody's
Well, I unravel because you know what? She has opinions, and she's so nice about it.
no, like the mattress though, I'm talking about.
Oh, the mattress. They didn't test
Yeah,
the mattress. Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
like it goes along with not testing the DNA under the nails, not testing the DNA on the first floor
Yeah.
handrail.
Yeah.
Not what is it? Not qualified. All this other
Oh,
BS.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. It's a big mess.
It is. And then this is a big mess too.
Kohberger and Ramsland.
But yeah, I mean, and Stacy, do you remember this? Do you remember back then the university? What was it, you guys? Was it the volleyball team
Yep.
that their coach, volleyball team, that their coach had a whole bunch of complaints from the team, and Jody Demon Lady, remember I used to call her Demon Lady?
Jody, yes.
Yeah, she went in there and talked to him, and they basically had to be around the accused and feel like they didn't even have their justice. How can you like, you have multiple complaints on a coach, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And a university, a female at that, like at that, she reminds me of Trisha when it comes to John Paul Miller.
Oh my
Right?
God.
Doesn't she? Doesn't Jody remind, like, with how dedicated she is to President Green, she reminds me of a Trisha when it comes to JP. Like, they just got that weird freaking demon lady vibe to them, and they're just there to promote as much of the bullshit as they can promote, and they're females and they should know better. Like, they're
Yeah.
coming from the same cloth, man.
Yeah.
Because how do you not stand up for, I mean, how many girls was it? Like 7 or 8? How many
Yeah.
fucking people do you have on a volleyball team? 15?
Yeah. He
That's half
eventually
your
got
damn
put on leave.
team.
Didn't he eventually get put on leave?
Eventually,
Yeah.
but they were trying to downplay it a whole bunch until it became a problem where they had to address it because of all the public pressure.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
used to get away with that shit. That's why I guarantee you, the only reason that house didn't get tore down a month and a half after the crime took place was because it was a national story, because they were used to getting away with this shit all the time. We're going to do what we want, and hey, there's the only public pressure is going to be from the locals, and they already know that they got the locals in their fucking pocket, so they don't have to worry about their pressure. The only pressure they got to worry about is if it gets outside their bubble of Pullman and Moscow, outside those mountains, and then it goes, oh, okay, we better do something about it. That I guarantee they would have tore that house down. The only reason it wasn't was because of national media attention. And it's the same thing with this volleyball coach stuff. I guarantee you, if nobody would have been talking about it and putting it out there, I guarantee they would have had it blow over. Look at all the sexual assault cases that they have taken place just from the law enforcement alone out there. Washington State, in Pullman, and in Moscow. Like, there's so much of that sick ass shit going on down there. And it's no wonder you see how how they treat them on the body cams, because it goes along with everything else that you're seeing come out on the news now. I mean, these, especially, I mean, it's crazy. WSU officers, you know what I'm saying? So multiple over the last couple years, WSU officers. So then it makes you wonder, people want to say, well, did Brian find something out on somebody and they always thought of Moscow or maybe Moscow PD? Well, let me tell you something. Moscow and Pullman are buddy because they're cousins, they're brothers. They just live across the state from one another. They intermingle, they migrate, they do all these things with each other. It's just them two out in the middle of nowhere, and so they're gonna procreate with each other too, so then people are gonna be connected and all this other stuff. What if he did not found something on Moscow PD, but found something on Washington State University PD, Pullman PD, and because they were cousins or or brothers or something, or connected in some way, boom, they're together.
Hello.
Yeah.
I got kicked off.
Yeah, I don't know, how long were you kicked off for?
I don't know, but I got kicked off.
Yeah, I'm just saying, what if Berger did come across, you look at all the, especially in Pullman, you look at all the officers that are having SA stuff involved with them, shady activity, and it makes you wonder, maybe he did, when he applied, maybe when he applied for Washington State, Pullman, and he said, look, I'll tell you how, this is how, this is how good I am at what I do. One of your officers is doing this. One of your officers is doing this. And then they're like, who the fuck is this guy? He's an outsider. He's an outsider, and he's gonna tell on my brother.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Because who's the one that came across his car first? Pullman. When they were still looking for a 2011 to 2013.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me in chat? Hello? Hello? Okay, you can hear me? You hear both? She couldn't hear me. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, I lost track. Oh. It was Pullman that came across his car first. If they were looking for if they were looking, what's up, Ash? If they were looking for a 2011 to 2013, then why did just as much as Moscow PD, then why did Pullman check out the car if it was not even the year span that they were looking for? So now it makes you wonder, was there something when he did apply? When he did apply, he said, look, man, one of your officers is doing this. That's how serious I am about wanting to help. And then all of a sudden, that officer comes by and was like, well, this isn't the same exact year that we were looking for, but... And then somebody says, because remember, it was first Pullman, then it was Moscow that came up there. Who do you think tipped off Moscow? Pullman, maybe, right? Hey, buddy. Yeah, I just looked at this car, man. This guy was, he came into the department before and da-da-da-da-da-da. Why don't you come down and take a look yourself? Take a look yourself, see what you think. Brothers, really? You look at how those two little towns are the only two little towns in the middle of frickin' nowhere, man. They stick up for each other, you guys.
Hey, can you now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, okay. I got it straight. I got it worked out. Okay.
So I was talking about how maybe it was possibly, did you hear the part where I was talking about how possibly maybe BK had turned in when you're seeing all of the...
Oh yes, I could hear you. Yes, you were talking about
Okay.
how BK maybe said that, hey, I know what's going on with Pullman, Washington cops. They're doing something sinister with these people. And so then they wanted to maybe railroad him. And here's the thing. If he really is autistic or he's on the autism spectrum and he's OCD, he wants everything to be done according, like me, I mean, not me, but like he wants everything, like he's honest, he wants to like adhere to the rules, and be very, and be an asshole about it, like, you need to adhere to the rules. I don't know. It could be that.
Well, no, this is what I was just explaining to him a second ago. Is think about who came out to Brian Koberger's car first.
Yeah, it was those Pullman, Washington, Tenego, and Whitman.
Right, and then right after that, like directly after that, then Moscow PD comes out. Right. It was like Pullman. Hey, there. Why would he be calling in about a 2015 if they're looking for a 2011 to 2013? Then you'd be like,
Right.
no, that's not the right year. That's
Mm-hmm.
not the right year.
Mm-hmm.
So you're already calling that in, and then all of a sudden, Moscow, before Eric G turns it in on a piece of paper on between December 7th and the 10th, we're talking late November. Moscow PD comes out there. Why? Eric hadn't turned in the tip yet. Somehow Moscow PD comes all the way out to Pullman, which is not their jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Why would you even be crossing state lines, bro? Right? Mm-hmm. Why would you even be crossing state lines? So they end up there right after Washington State does a little call-in about it. And your brothers, they're going to stick up for each other. So maybe the narrative had started from Pullman and not necessarily Moscow PD.
That's true.
Because they were just looking for anything because they're inexperienced. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. They were looking everywhere for an answer. They couldn't even tell you an answer. And if another police department approaches you and says, "Hey, this dude's weird as shit," I think he had something to do with that. Why else would they call it in? Already 2 years later than the model you're looking for, and you have Moscow PD. Well, I'm not going to say you have, because we don't know if they had Moscow PD. We do know that Moscow PD crossed state lines, went up to Brian Koberger's apartment, and looked at the frickin' car.
Yeah. Yeah.
That don't make any sense at all from there. So it makes you really wonder, like, maybe that's why he didn't. If he was so good, you got all these people that are talking about him committing the crime and how he was perfection at the kit and
Oh
perfection at all
God.
this other stuff. Well, then why wouldn't they have wanted him to be part of their team, right? The only reason is because they wouldn't want some hot shot that's going to snitch on any one of them, because he doesn't have an interest on keeping his mouth shut because he's not from there and he don't know anybody, and none of his family's going to get hurt, because that's what they do to you out there. They do shit to your family when it comes to community wise, small town. Psst, 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 psst. Oh my gosh. Da, 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 da. All of a sudden, you got a bad name in a little teeny town and you feel like a nobody, okay? Nobody wants to feel that. Nobody wants
No.
to feel that. So they're going to keep their mouth shut. They're not going to, they're not going to get into the gossip because they don't want to be gossiped about, okay? And so they're going to keep their mouth shut. But you got some officer or wannabe from outside of this, even from the East Coast, coming over here trying to show us how good he is and trying to tell on Jimmy. Man, if he tells on Jimmy, he's gonna tell on Bobby. He's gonna tell on Anderson. He's gonna tell on cousin Billy. He's gonna on everybody, because we're
I
all.
got kicked off again. Sorry.
Oh no, it's this program probably.
No, I
But
think it's. I think it. I'm not sure if it's this program, but I'm on my phone and I don't know if I'm hitting buttons. I'm not sure, but why does it say chat is open to everyone? Oh wait. Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I lost
Sorry.
train. No,
Sorry.
you're
I'm
good.
sorry.
No, it's this the as
We
much
have
as
to get
I
used to. You have to get used to it. Yeah.
as much as I hate StreamYard, I don't know. I got to try with this and see how it works, but um I don't know. It just the whole how it started,
Yeah.
you're a person you're already an outsider. They know you're an outsider cuz you never changed your damn plates when you first moved there, which is what they advise you to do. Um and they're not gonna want somebody, even though that's the right thing, even though if you really are truly about doing that job, then they want you, because it's like, look, as much as he could be a get along go along, this job ultimately is about integrity and doing it the right way. And so if he's willing to sit there and tell about, how show this about Jimmy, well, hey, then we know that he's going to do that for anybody with any of
Right.
these cases, and so that's very important. But instead, not there. No, we don't want this guy coming in here snitching on everybody because they're doing this or doing that, because that's what they're used to. They're in that small, any of these small towns. That's why you don't drive through a small ass town in the middle of the night, because you're going to get pulled over automatically, because there's just shady ass shit that goes down.
Yeah.
There is. They just like with when I was doing Lumber River State Park for Micah Miller, the whole time that I was in Robeson County, the whole time I could not wait to get off that pavement, because at any moment it didn't matter whether it was the daytime or the nighttime. I could have been pulled over and they could have did what the fuck ever they wanted, and they do.
Mhm.
And so that it's the small ass, that's just the way it is. It's small town America. They're bored. They don't have a lot of action going on. And, just like with Moscow, yeah, we got this. And then when shit really happens, when it really hits the fan, they're freaking out, because they're like, shit, man, we only read about this in a book and played with Play-Doh. We didn't really do it, real life shit. We just played with Play-Doh for it. Probably had dollhouses that they did for their training, right? So, but they're not that, and so they're not gonna. Why else would he have not been? Why else would he have not been accepted if he was this good, like everybody says he is?
Well,
They,
he did have a drug history. I don't know if that excludes him, but I don't think he was ever involved in
no.
police. Like, I think his drug history was a health history, not necessarily like, uh, getting busted for stealing things.
Oh, you mean like prescriptions that he had to take or something? I
No,
don't.
what he ate.
No, Yoli, that's gonna be a listen. It's gonna be a benefit. What? Who's kind of like this? Who's a better drug counselor, Yoli?
Oh, yes, yes,
Right?
yeah,
Somebody that's never touched it, or somebody that was all up in that shit?
right, right.
A better counselor is going to be somebody that was all up in that shit. So
Yeah.
when you're thinking about a cop, uh, a, that would be
Yeah.
that would be a benefit. I mean,
Yeah, the drug history was not in his criminal file. In other words, it was a health issue.
yeah. So
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, I don't know. I can't see it being a prescription thing, because how many people are on? I mean, think about big pharma and how long big pharma's been running shit for 25, 30 years. They've been running, on the top of the mountain, and big. I'm sure there can't be, I don't know, there to have some kind of medication like that for your mental health. uh I just don't see how that would restrict you from becoming uh a law enforcement. I don't see how that would I don't see how
Sorry,
that would
got kicked out
restrict you from,
again.
if you're fine. I don't see how that would restrict you from becoming a law enforcement officer. um any kind of medication for mental health, I don't, that's
Hmm.
acceptable these days. Like, and not that it shouldn't be, because if it helps you get better, it helps you get better, right? So that's a good thing. Um, so I don't see why that would even be, uh, that would be a negative on somebody's application or whatever. So that's what I'm saying. When you're looking at it, why would it have been denied?
Hmm.
Everybody says he's this good at this. Even the people that have convicted him and set him up for the firing range already. Oh, he was a perfecter. Okay, all right. Well, he did this and did this and did this. All right.
Well, his
Um,
school paper was pretty good.
right. So what? And you hear about the teachers, how when you think about Ramslin reaching out to the family, right?
Hmm.
Not that he was that he had kind of fetish for her. And I bet you Howard Bloom comes out next week and says that secretly that Koberger and Ramsland snuck in a closet for a little while. I bet you that'll be next. But when it comes to Ramsland, if she reached out, listen, she could have just sat back and went, man, that was one of my students. That's really weird. But the thing is she probably got to know him. And why would she reach out to the family and ask if there was anything that she could do if he was really weird or an asshole or a shitbag or disrespectful? You know, you would think that she would reach out to the family and ask if there's anything that she can do if in fact he was a good student and they got along good and they had a student teacher relationship and all of these other things. That's just because, listen, how many teachers reach out when somebody's getting arrested or gets in trouble? Not very many. And for her to reach out to the family, knowing damn well with how the notoriety of the case, okay, the attention on it, how it could potentially hurt her career in the future, she's still reached out. It's not like she reached out to Jimmy Bob that was just a local thing and she's like, hey, if you need any help. No, this was national. She was, so by reaching out, that says something too. So then it makes you wonder, why did he not get accepted? He should have been his school, his teachers, you know, the work that you guys talk about. And why not?
Yeah.
There's no reason why, right? You would think that somebody from out there would, hey, yeah, let's take this guy. Look at him. He's, you know, he got referred for the only the second student ever for this lady to suggest him for that, to put in to refer him. Like, that says a lot right there. That says, well, why wouldn't he? Well, the reason he wouldn't is because he probably came in there. You're already an outsider. You're not you're not even from the state. You're from across the country. And then you had something on somebody, and there's higher people that know how to do shit and get away with it because they're from that area. And I don't know, it's just, when you look at all the sexual stuff that's going on, even in Pullman, even more than Moscow, honestly, when it comes to the law enforcement, more than Moscow, it's in Pullman. It really makes you wonder, because then it's like, well, yeah, the Pullman guy showed up first, even though that wasn't even the right year that they were looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, that sucks. It keeps going out.
Yeah, it does. It keeps going out. I don't know why.
I wonder if there's a way that I can. I'll have to test it out sometime and see if I can have StreamYard open and then host the parties on that.
Yeah. This thing is weird because when I tried to get it onto my computer, it just wouldn't load. I don't know, because I did I did a recording with Law Offices of Andrew, and it worked fine earlier today, but it might be this program, because when I tried to load it, it just kept spinning. And I went to check, and it's not gonna, I tried to log on my computer, and it just spins. It doesn't connect. And on my phone, I keep getting disconnected, so I don't know what the problem is.
Let me see here. I think I can use both microphones. Let me see. Let me try this. Okay. Actually, we can.
I'm sure I'm sure you'll work it out. It's just gonna take a little bit.
Let me.
Because I can't chat on here either.
You can't. Well, you wouldn't be able to on. Well, this is what I was thinking here. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Give me 1 second. Um. Let's see. There it is. Okay. Let me try this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you a link, but don't accept it right now. If you keep ending up popping off, then go ahead and we will try this. Was Let me see. It's 10:30. We'll just sit here and chit chat about this stuff, and then basically, Vinnie had a show earlier where they were talking about the new evidence, the new documents and stuff. Now, I did want to check his video out because he got into like it almost. I didn't get to check it all out, but it seemed like um he was asking some of the questions that we've been asking, when it comes to the 911 call and things like that. And so I do want to check that out. Now, with the Nancy Grace, is there anything that I pretty much it
No,
was
I mean, we
wild, you
heard
guys.
that. It was wild.
It was wild. There was a lot of panel guests on there. I think they had 6 people on there minimum, a lot of people. There's a lot of stuff being said, just a lot of the usual mumbo jumbo. Everybody was kind of throwing their thing in, but Howard Blum was just...
Yeah,
it was just too much.
It's just too much.
So if you didn't get to see that, I put that video's out there. It probably won't be out till tomorrow or the next night, but you can check it out. What's up, Rosie? You can check it out if you're waking up and you want to hop on, Rosie. Let me know. But yeah, it was a lot of crap, man. Just the stuff that was being mentioned, it was pretty wild. But I do want to check out the court TV one. So if there is any issues, let me know. And oh, hold on 1 second.
I have no idea what's going on. I keep getting kicked off.
Let me do this. So, okay, I sent you a link, right? Yeah. Go ahead and click on that link.
The second link?
The one that I just sent a couple minutes ago.
Okay.
Go ahead and click on that link. And then I'm gonna try this. So let me go to let me go to this. All right, now let's see if this is gonna work. Because we might have to do this. The thing is I'm gonna have to purchase the plan that's higher if we do. All right, so let me see here. So let's All right, so let's see, we'll go here. So let me share this. All right. Do you guys hear an echo? Do you guys hear an echo of me? Do you guys hear an echo? Yeah, Rosie, let me know if you want to hop up. Busby, if you want to. I got the StreamYard link out there. Caddy, if you want to hop up. Okay, this might work then. Because if we might have to do panels like this, which kind of sucks, but I'll figure out a way, because I want to make sure that everybody can have an opportunity to talk. So let me see here. Let's go to this. All right. I can't log back on with the StreamYard, Yoli. The StreamYard link. And I'm still learning this program too, so I'm still learning the ins and outs of it. So I'll have to get the higher plan, then I can add more web browsers. I can have like as many web browsers as I want open at that point. Right now I can only have one. Or no. Let me see here. Hold on. Let me test it out. Yeah, go ahead and hop on like you normally do with StreamYard. Let me see here. Let me go back here. So, add layer, web source. All right, let's see. Well, where do you put the hold on. Well, how do you put the web source in there? Let's see, I'm just waiting for Yoli here. How do you put the web source in here? Because I'm going to try and have StreamYard and the Vinnie episode. Let's see, chat box. All right, let me try that again. Excuse me. Let's see, web source. Ah, there it is. I got to double click on it. All right, so we go here. Click that. Oh no, I can't even use one web source. So I'll have to upgrade to the higher plan in order to use another web source. So Let's see. I don't know what's up. It won't. I get when I try to. Even with StreamYard. Hold on. I'm gonna create another one. I'm gonna send you another link, Yoli. All right, let me see here. Audio. All right, that's good there. Okay. All right. Excuse me. All right, I'm gonna send you another link. Let's see. StreamYard link. See if that one works. Because I know sometimes some of them would have issues. Let me see. Let's see here. The computer. Oh, well, I mean, we were just chit-chatting. Let me see here. Let me... What time is it? 10:40. I was kind of just enjoying chatting about the case and the new stuff. Let me find that episode here. Give me 1 second. I can't see your chat. I'm looking for this episode here. Where in the hell did it go? All right, here it is. All right, let me see here. Let's scroll back. All right, let me get back to chat here. All right, there we go. No, it's okay. I have a new one, but what did you get on with StreamYard before? Because I can have StreamYard come up. I was going to do a little bit of gaming over at the lounge tonight, too. After the show. I was going to hit up some video games after for a little bit. Unwind, declutter the mind, have some fun. Not sure what I'm going to play yet. Gonna be talking Idaho for tomorrow. I think Sunday night I'm gonna be doing an episode on Scott Spivey. And then we're going to be having an episode coming up here real soon. I'm thinking the end of next week, or the end of this new week that's coming up. So like a week from now, I think we should be ready to have a show about John Martin by a week from now. For that, that's crazy too. We got the autopsy report today, and it don't make sense. I'm waiting to try and see what we can get for the medical examiner's report, because I want to see if stuff matches, because to me, I don't know. I got that autopsy report today, and I was just like, nah, this ain't making sense. This ain't making sense. Definitely check out the video I did about Scott Spivey over there in Horry County, South Carolina. Same county as J.P. Miller, and just the corruption is so crazy over there. I tried to use them for the new crime. No. You can use your computer for StreamYard. Basically, you can just hop on StreamYard if you want, without because I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna have to get the upgraded version of this, so because then I can do StreamYard parties. You guys can join. You'll just have to have YouTube chat up, like on another device, to see. I sent you the message when I try to log in. What? That's weird. Make sure you're connected to the internet. Yeah, because this is, yeah, it should work. That's weird. Maybe there's some kind of browser. Yeah, I see that now. Maybe there's some kind of browser thing over there or something, because, yeah, this is how I do my meetings and stuff. I do my meetings on offline StreamYards, because then I can screen share, and other people can screen share if they want, and we can all hang out and go through different documents and stuff like that. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those nights. So what I'm gonna do, we'll just go ahead and let me see. I might just go ahead and hop off a little early then, and then we'll cover this, because I do want to cover both of them in the same show. We'll be getting together with Nina tomorrow. Trying to see. If there's something else I want to cover real quick, because everything else is kind of lengthy. And I'll just probably go ahead and head over to the lounge a little early. If you're moving. Oh, yes. I do want to play this real quick. This is that video of the dude telling you to change your plate. Hold on. Oh my gosh, where did that go? I had it somewhere. Hold on 1 second. I gotta show you this, because I always refer to it. Here it is, right here. Outsiders change your plate ASAP. It's just a little 4-minute video. But I'm going to show you this video here because I do always refer to the thing where, you know, the guy tells you got to change your plate as soon as you get in there. Now, this is from an episode that we did. Let me see. This is from an episode that we did January 23rd, 2024. Okay. And it comes from a channel, and I even have the actual video in the description, so I'll drop a link for that too, so you can have the original video. But this is where he tells you that you need to change your plate ASAP. All right, so here's this. I'll drop the link to the real video here once we're done with this video, but check this out. This is what he's saying here. All right, so here's this. This is Living Life in North Idaho, and it talks about being an outsider.
Video, you get notified. Every single week, I have so many people reaching out, asking me what it's like living in Idaho, what they can expect, and I absolutely love that. So if this is you and you have questions about what it's like living, today we're talking about the 10 reasons you should probably avoid Idaho. Now, I'm not saying these are negative. I'm not saying they're positive. I've lived here for 30 years, so I've experienced all of this stuff, and I have my own opinions. But that's not my job to give you my opinion of if it's good or not, just to tell you about the experience. And
keep in mind, this guy sells houses there, okay? It's his job to sell houses.
You decide if this is a positive or negative, and if Idaho is the place that you want to call homes for people. And it's just something you should be aware about. Number 5, the people here in North Idaho. Now, once you get moved here, you get those plates switched over and you start fitting in, people can be...
Once you get those plates switched over and you start fitting in, right?
Number 5, the people here in North Idaho. Now,
right?
Once you get moved here, you get those plates switched over and you start fitting in, people can be extremely nice. But until that happens, if they know that you're moving from out of state, especially if you're from California, they'll let you know how much they don't want you here.
Woo!
Idahoans are very friendly people, but they're very defensive about our state.
Say that again, buddy. Say
that
one more time.
5, the people here in North Idaho. Now, once you get moved here, you get those plates switched over and you start fitting in, people can be extremely nice. But until that happens, if they know that you're moving from out of state, especially if you're from California, they'll let you know how much they don't want you here.
Woo! Yeah. Right? What were we saying? He's an outsider. He just got his plate switched, yo. They don't like you.
People can be extremely nice. But until that happens, if they know that you're moving from out of state, especially if you're from California, they'll let you know how much they don't want you here. Idahoans are very friendly.
Did you see what he put up there while he... Welcome to... Look at this.
Idahoans are...
Hold on. It says, welcome to Idaho. Now go home. I don't know how I didn't see that. Welcome to Idaho. Now go home. That's on the back of somebody's car window. Damn. You see what I'm saying? Here's the link to this video. January of 2024.
Know how much they don't want you here. Idahoans are very friendly people, but they're very defensive about our state growing too quickly or getting big. They do not want to see it become California. And so that's kind of their way of letting people know this is not a place that we want you to move to. A lot of people are doing it. I myself am a transplant from California 30 years ago when my parents brought me here. So a lot of the population is from out of state, but you need to know some people can get a little bit aggressive. So you want to get those plates changed over as quickly as possible.
Little bit aggressive and then remind you about the plates again. Isn't that nuts? So you see what I'm saying? When it comes to like Koberger coming in there, he didn't change his plates. He's snitching on somebody. You know, who the fuck? Who are you, man? No, we're not going to hire you. Isn't that crazy? You want to get those numbers switched, them plates switched over as soon as possible.
No, some people can get a little bit aggressive, so you want to get those plates changed over as quickly as possible.
Little bit aggressive. So, yes. Hold on, I got to put it right back here. Look at this. He even as he's watch when it pops up, you'll notice the window decal. Welcome to Idaho. Now go home. He didn't mention that when he was talking. Watch what he brings up when he throws that little image up there. It's subliminal messaging. I'm not saying it so I don't get in trouble for it, but I'm going to throw a picture of up there of a window decal because we want you to know we don't effing want you here.
Defensive about our state.
Say that again, buddy.
Whereabouts. Number 5, the people here in North Idaho. Now, once you get moved here, you get those plates switched over and you start fitting in, people can be extremely nice. But
once you do, they can be extremely. But
until that happens, if they know that you're moving from out of state, especially if you're from California, they'll let you know how much they don't want you here.
Now go home. That's what I'm saying. So I know I've referenced it for a long time. I've referenced it about the whole not changing your plate and all of these things. And maybe people are like, man, what's he talking about? And I dropped a link in the chat and maybe nobody would check it out or something. And so it's like, okay, I'll just play it for a couple minutes because it's something I wanted to show you guys for the last few weeks just because I've been bringing it up a lot lately. And so I had to share it though because we started like I said, this guy lives in northern Idaho. He's from that area. And when we came across it, it was like I initially it was comedy to me because I was like it's like a realtor that tells you not to buy a house. It's like what a realtor wouldn't do, or like a woodworker that fucks everything up. It's like what a woodworker wouldn't do. You know what I mean? It's like there's just certain things that certain professions wouldn't do. And then you start to listen to it, and then he's like, yeah, the top 5 reasons or something. And it was like, what the heck is this? Now he's giving you 5 reasons not to frickin' move there? And then he just spills it all right there. That's how it goes up there. That's why I said when I went up there for my trip, the year anniversary, I felt how thick the atmosphere was. Listen, it's more than just somebody saying the words over the video. It's more than that. This when you're there, it's like, oh shit, this you can feel it. You can breathe it. Yeah. Ash, hey, the whole time I was there, I'm creeping. I'm creeping because the last thing that I wanted to do is get pulled over by those law enforcement up there. F that. F that. Forget it. Yeah, once you change those plates, you should be fine. But until then, remember when I told you guys when I got there, I was so thankful. I was so thankful that I got Washington State plates. That's the reason. And that video came out a month after I came back from my trip out to Idaho. I felt all that before that video came out. I could already tell. As soon as I got that rental at the airport and I saw it had Washington State tags, I said, got lucky. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, you guys. Thank you all for being here tonight. We'll get to these episodes. It was nice hanging back, talking with Yolie. I apologize about the technical issues. I'm gonna try and get an upgrade. I think it's like another 20 or something a month. I'm gonna try and get that. That way, I can still have the screen share, have the web sources. I could literally have as many webs. We could have this web source, this web source, this web source, animations going over the screen and all that. I was just trying to keep the costs down for right now, but I'm thinking I'm gonna have to use StreamYard for the panels or whatever. So I might be able to do that for my gaming streams, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because I can do it over at the game and stuff. So if you're not subbed and you want to come hang out, I don't usually post notifications until last minute over there, but I will be going over there for a little bit to play a little something. So if you want to come hang out, here's the link for that. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow night for sure. I'll see you tomorrow night. We'll have Nina Kelly on the show. We'll be talking 11:26 and a little bit more than that. Thank you all for being here. Please hit the like if you haven't yet. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. And definitely check out that sneak peek that I gave you, because it's, like I said, it's not going to be out till tomorrow. Oh my gosh. What the hell? Wow. It's not going to be out until tomorrow night, but you guys can check it out and see all that crazy sensationalism. That Howard Blum, man, I tell you, it just makes things worse. It really does. And then there's other people that just quadruple down on it. And it's just like, are you really thinking with your head? Or are you just going off of what, oh, wow, that looks cool. I don't know. Love you guys. Appreciate it. Now we'll go ahead and hit that outro. I'll see you at the lounge, and we'll see you back here tomorrow night. Love you guys.
4.